my main purpose is to provide support to actors of color. All actors, of course, but I know that actors of color in particular have been overlooked. Then the second thing is to be bringing more people of color into the space to provide support. You don't see us backstage or in like positions of power, mostly as designers. Anytime that I see a talented stylist, it doesn't matter to me that you've never done theater before. I want you to know that this is a possibility.
Hi, my name is Karen Ford. I am a proud founding member of Black Theater United. And today we want to welcome you to Before the Curtain Rises, the Designer Series. Today we're speaking to Nikiya Mathis.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
She's a hair designer and wig designer. Welcome to the Designer Series. Thank you for coming.
I'm excited.
So, where are you from originally?
I was born in Atlanta. My dad's family is from Atlanta, but I was raised in Jersey. My mom's family is from Jersey. I pretty much grew up mostly in Newark, New Jersey. Then we moved to Elizabeth, New Jersey. But I went to school mostly in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay. My mother's from Atlanta, so I have family down there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I've been down there a lot.
Yeah.
So what made you have an interest in doing hair and designing for wigs and that kind of thing?
Oh, Lord. Well, that's a little bit of a story. So my hair journey started with my acting journey. So I was an actor in high school. That's when I decided, oh, this is the thing I want to do. But also during high school, I would do my own hair and come to school and my friends would see it. You know, that back then flat twists and streaks like Mary J. Blige were the thing. And my friends would say, oh, can you come do my hair? So after school, I would go to their house, charge them like $10.
At least you're making money. That's
exactly.
smart.
Exactly. Sometimes I was, except when I made a mistake and it would be like, oh, you could have it for free. Because it was all an experiment at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I just started doing hair because people said, oh, I like yours. Can you do mine? Which is interesting now that I think about it, because that's actually how things continue to happen. So I pursued acting in college. Then I went to NYU Tisch for grad school and got an MFA. And when I was there, I was also doing my castmates' hair, black and white, because there weren't wig designers in the school, right? So in conservatory programs, like they do have costume design programs. So the costume designers do design the costumes, but they don't have wig designers. And then this is also something that, I am supporting now, that the costume designers don't always learn about hair.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's integral. I mean, everything comes together.
100%.
Yes.
So like the hair was just like, it was just like left to our own devices. And I remember being in a Raisin in the Sun, like my hair journey and the challenges I feel like started then. I was in a Raisin in the Sun in grad school, and because they didn't really know about hair, they told me that I was going to have to cut my hair, Benita goes natural.
No.
So exactly.
No way.
Exactly. Not in 2024, but definitely in 2000, whatever it was. So I was going to have to cut my hair. And I remember calling a mentor of mine, Sarette Scott. I'm not sure if you know her, but awesome director. And she said, no, they need to get you a wig. But again, like they didn't have the understanding, the support. But fine, I went to them and said, scared, I don't want to cut my hair. Can we get a wig? Thankfully, I had like an older woman, an older Black woman specifically to tell me what was possible. So they ended up getting me a wig, but that was trauma. Like I thought that I didn't have a choice, right? So things like that kept happening. I was doing my friend's hair in grad school. Then I got out of grad school and was in a show, and there were 5 Black actors in the play. The theater had nobody who could do cornrows, which most of the actors needed. I ended up doing their hair, and my friends or my castmates were so grateful. And so like that would happen. And then I would also like book jobs, and I would get to the theater and they would say that they wanted my hair to be like it was in the audition, not knowing that what I did in the audition probably took me 2 days with the wash day, the twist out, like all of those things. Like I couldn't maintain that. And my friends would have the same challenges. Like they would assume that because you're a Black actor and you came looking a certain way, you could maintain that, not knowing or understanding that our hair requires a different set of care.
Right.
And, just an understanding and support. So there just overall wasn't support. Like I would also, be cast in TV shows, like as like a guest star, and I would come and, try to ask them not to put excessive heat on my hair.
Right.
They do it anyway. Like, just like, and like feeling like a problem.
Right.
And, because I felt like that and I knew that experience, it made me really want to support my fellow actors as I, went on this journey.
Right.
Yeah.
So did that lead you then that's just dealing with the hair directly.
Yeah.
So did that guide you then into the wig design? It's like, okay, now I got to figure out how to make wigs so that we don't have to touch their hair at all.
No, that's good. So I was like, back then I was just purchasing my own wigs from like whatever hair vendor online. So like but also a lot of my friends weren't wearing wigs, but they would also see that I did. So people would ask me, okay, can you fix my wig? Or, hey, I like that wig that you did. Can you, do one for me? So at that time, I didn't even know how to ventilate. I didn't know how to build a wig. I was just buying them and styling them.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. So when you say ventilate, what does that mean?
That's good. Good question. Because it's not like a ventilating system. So ventilating is the art or the craft of tying individual knots of hair into a wig. So a wig starts as just a lace foundation, and you have to put the hair in single strands, or maybe sometimes you can do like maybe 1 to 5 strands, but you're putting the hair in one by one, and that's the act of ventilating.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I interrupt you. So
it's all good.
Yeah.
So I started. So what happened is, I think my journey in hair came because I had relationships with other actors on the journey. So I was continuing to act, but then I would have friends who would get on a TV show and say, I think I need a wig for this TV show. Can you help me? I had one friend, Sharon Washington, awesome actor and writer, who would buy wigs from me. And then she ended up getting a one-woman show that she wrote in the city. And she asked me to wig design it. So it just happened that was my first wig design credit, right? And it wasn't a wig. We ended up like doing something else. We did like clip-ins to match her hair because she didn't actually feel good. She felt a little inauthentic with a wig on and all of that. But like small things like that actually helped me to move forward in a way that I didn't even really realize that I was moving forward. But I knew I needed to ask for credit. So like, it was like, she would ask me, hey, can you do my hair? But like, there was something that was like, oh, you need to actually get credit for this. You need a design credit. So I think like things like that and word of mouth of actors in the community, helped me to start to get more offers to design.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you speak about design credit. Most of your work, is that television, film, theater, or is it like a combination of all of that?
I'd say most of my work is theater, but in terms of TV, there will be like individual actors who will ask me to make a wig for them for their TV show. Or like, sometimes the head of hair, when they come on, might say, hey, do you have someone that you want to build your wig for you? And I just recently had an actress say yes, and then I built a wig for her for a show. So there's actually a few actors who are on shows who I've either built wigs for or provided wigs from. I also have like a hairline.
Okay.
So like I'll provide them like clip-ins or a U-part wig, which is a wig that, the wig is here. It doesn't have a middle
Okay.
or a front, so you can leave your hair out, almost like a sew and weave.
Oh,
For
okay.
anybody who knows that,
Okay,
but you just
yes.
leave a little bit of your hair out, and then you cover it, and then but most of the wig is doing the work, but it still will look really natural because the front of your hair is out covering it.
Got
So
it.
like, actors, like there are people who, now I'm getting into why wearing wigs is good, but but there are people who like feel inauthentic with a whole wig, but there are so many different possibilities in terms of wigs and hair that'll help you not have to put stress on your natural hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
So those are the
understand.
options and the things that like I started talking about with actors.
Got it.
Yeah.
So now, since you do theater, you make theater wigs and things like that, because I'm a sound engineer.
Yes, you are.
Sound and wigs and hair, we work very closely together.
Yes.
So, and you were asking me earlier before we came on here about the microphones and placement and things like that. And I know it's always kind of a struggle, and I feel badly because I know these wigs are tedious to make and expensive, and it's an art.
Yes.
But then here we come along.
Exactly.
And put this little tiny microphone up there.
Exactly.
So you asked about placement of the microphones, and I'll explain to you why we do that as sound engineers. Is because when you do television, you notice when on television on a set, there's somebody walking around with a boom mic.
That's right. That's right.
Well, this is like a personal boom mic.
Yes, I hear you.
This is why we put it there.
I hear you.
So we try different placements, and today, more and more today, we're using microphones that go over the ear into the face, which is better for us. I mean, we get more sound. Sometimes it's better, but the ideal position is above the forehead.
Interesting. So do you now so are you using the microphones that go over the ear and there's like a wire to the mouth?
We call it a boom.
And so tell me why that's now versus before. Like, why is that more common now? Is it because you don't want to mess up the lace or the wig, or is there another reason?
There's another reason.
Okay.
We really don't want to mess up the lace, but the reason we do that, more and more you're seeing the boom, is because theater is changing.
Yeah.
So more and more shows are becoming more pop.
Yes, that's good. That's true.
So, like, I don't know, I haven't seen Hell's Kitchen yet, but I think they were the booms.
Okay, yeah.
We use because I'm mixing the whiz right now. We use a combination of both. Our principals actually, they used to wear the boom, but we moved it to the center of the forehead. Why? Because it actually sounds better.
Gotcha.
We picked them up better.
Gotcha.
The rest of the ensemble wears the boom.
Gotcha.
So, and I know, and even with that show, there's the ensemble wears a lot of wigs too. So it's a lot easier for the hair department. They don't have to deal with all that.
No, definitely. Whenever I'm in a show, I'm always like, please don't put this mic. Well, also the mic packs in the wig. But sometimes that's about the actor.
Yes.
Sometimes it's about sound, but oftentimes I find it's about the actor's preference as well. Yeah.
So I mean, we try to balance everything and work around everyone. Sometimes we'll put the packs in the wigs, which I know it's not an ideal thing either.
Exactly.
But we're working closely with a lot of these sound companies to make the packs are actually much smaller.
I love that.
So the smaller they are, we try to avoid putting them in the wigs because we understand the issues that go with that.
Absolutely.
And especially with black hair, because black women got the braids, and it's enough to put the wig over the braids.
Absolutely.
So, but we try to work with hair in the wig department. But yes, that's why we put them in the center.
Thank you for explaining that, because I remember before I was really wig designing, I would watch shows and be like, why is that there? And of course, there's always a reason for something. But thank you for explaining.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. So name some of the shows that you've designed.
Maybe I'll go backwards. Right now, I am working on Cats, the Jellicle Ball. I'm working on Table 17 at MCC, which its first preview was last night. I'm working on the tour of Zsa Zsa's African Hair Braiding. And then that's the show that I won the Tony for.
Congratulations.
So excited about that still. Home at American Airlines Theater just a few months ago. Top Dog, Underdog, Death of a Salesman, Chicken and Biscuits, and a myriad of shows off Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything coming up? Or?
Well, so Zsa Zsa's, the tour of Zsa Zsa's is in rehearsal right now. And I will, next year, I will be working on the musical Goddess.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll be working on The Last 5 Years, which is going to Broadway. And a few other shows for next year.
That's great.
Yeah.
I actually did a film version of The Last 5 Years. I actually did the sound design and mixed it and all that.
So how often do you do TV and film versus theater?
It's mostly theater. I've done some television. Like I worked at BET for a little bit.
Oh, awesome.
I mixed some of their shows back in the day.
Gotcha.
I have done a little bit of film, but I'll do like some studio work because I have my own setup at home. Totally. So I'll record at home and mix and things like that.
Totally.
But that's how I did the last 5 years.
Gotcha. Well, how do you, I'm curious, I would think that there might be more monetary gain in TV and film versus theater. Yeah. So then I'm curious how you determine that you're going to do theater versus like a TV or film project.
Well, I started out in theater.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've built a reputation. People know me as a mixer. Now, I've done some post-production sound effects editing when I lived in LA, but I didn't develop enough of a community there.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of it, but there's something about theater that's not like anything else.
Absolutely.
I can sit in the studio all day long and mix and make things right and perfect and all that, but I get no response until after somebody sees the film or the TV show. Whereas in theater, I'm sitting at that console. I'm out there by myself, but I'm surrounded by the audience, and every audience has their own personality.
Yeah.
So there's something special about sitting out there and hearing an audience react the way they do, like, for example, on The Wiz. Some audiences are a little reserved and they applaud and all that. But then you'll get some people that stand up and act like they're in church.
Exactly.
And just talk back to the stage.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's nothing like that. But film is interesting, and I've done production on the set, sound for production. But I don't care for sitting around on the set all day long.
I hear you. Exactly.
You just wait until they set up and they're like, okay, let's go.
Exactly.
Nah.
Exactly. Okay, I hear you.
Yes.
There is a rush and a thrill. Like, even though, theater is hard, there is something about like the thrill of being in it and seeing it.
Exactly.
Seeing all your work come to fruition. Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
So another question, how important is it to you to make other young women of color knowledgeable about what you do?
Oh, that is ultimately, if I have, my main purpose is to provide support to actors of color. All actors, of course, but I know that actors of color in particular have been overlooked. So if I'm in the space, I'm going to make sure that they feel taken care of. Then the second thing is to be bringing more people of color into the space to provide support, because what you often hear actors backstage say to the random people of color that are there is that I'm so glad you're here, because historically we haven't seen us. You will see us on the stage more, but then you don't see us backstage or in like positions of power, mostly as designers. For me, it's important to provide a pipeline. Anytime that I see a talented stylist, it doesn't matter to me that you've never done theater before. I want you to know that this is a possibility. And I know that some people's critique is, oh, they don't have the understanding, they don't have the training. But then you have these people, these other people who've been on Broadway for years and leave actors crying, or say, you know, I've been in a show with them and my hair has looked a hot mess, you know, and you've made my natural hair or my wig prep, my cornrows seem like a problem. So I feel like I have realized that as long as somebody has the desire, for the most part, I can't train you on how to love people. I can't train you on how to have good, really good bedside manner. I can give you some tips, but if you don't have it in your heart to really want to support people, that's not going to happen. So if I find somebody that wants to support people in the space that are talented, I can teach them how theater goes. Why? Because all of us have had to learn somewhere along the way. And I feel like a challenge that I see is that there's this hierarchy. There's this feeling of, I'm on Broadway and I've been here for years. Who are you? You don't know anything. Oh, you don't know what this is. And it's like, well, you didn't either at one time. You know, to be real, oftentimes it feels like it comes down to race, right? Like I feel like there are times when the critique of us coming into the space, what I find when I'm wanting to put people on my show that I know can do the job, that it is the higher ups will say, oh, they don't have enough Broadway experience. If they have Broadway experience, oh, they don't have enough Broadway musical theater experience. Oh, but then I've seen a general manager put somebody in a supervisory position that had never been a supervisor before. So on one hand, I'm getting this when it's us, and on the other hand, I'm seeing people skyrocket, you know, without the experience, or without the experience, the level of experience that you said you required.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting to me. So yeah, so for me personally, I break those glass ceilings. Like I am always telling young artists, hey, do you know this is a job? If you're interested, call me. You know, like, And it doesn't always work out. Like and this is the other thing, every Black person that does hair does not mean that they're amazing or do it well. I'm trying to find the people who do. I'm trying to pull the people in to say, okay, if you are good and nobody opened the door, let me open it for you. And when you get in here, let's see how this works. And hopefully you'll endure and stand the test of time.
Right. Yeah. Given those pipelines of opportunity.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Yes, I'm trying to do the same thing. In fact, a young Black man came to me after the show on the Wiz the other day. And he was like, you know, he looked like a deer in headlights. Because he saw the console. He's like, I really want to do this, but I don't know where to go. And, you know, you ask a series of questions and they still don't know. But I said, give me your phone number. Give me your information. Come and watch.
That's right.
And see if you like it. And like you said, it doesn't always work out.
That's right.
But when it does, there's a young lady who I actually brought in to do some things and to watch. And now she's working. She's doing a tour. She's doing small designs. So this is what I want to do with this young Black man. I want to see us. I'm the only one on Broadway mixing right now. So,
Lord.
I mean, there are other Black sound people, but they're A2. I mean, they're assistants.
Sure.
And there's only one other Black man that I know that it's mixing, and he's a great mixer. He's on the road.
Wow.
But he's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like you, I want to bring more people in, make people aware, and let them know that this can be a career.
Absolutely. So. That's amazing. And I'm so excited and happy to hear that. Because also I can imagine with you being the only one, to be the only Black person And then to also be a woman, I can't imagine what you've had to navigate.
Well, I mean, luckily it hasn't been that bad.
Good, awesome.
I've had amazing designers that I've worked with.
Awesome.
All of them have been amazing.
Great, that's awesome.
They've been supportive, but I also know what they do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to surround myself with people that don't know.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
So I surround myself with people that are smarter than I am.
Exactly. No, that's so good.
So,
that's so
but
good.
that's the best way to do it. And I learned from them.
Yeah.
And then I just want to extend my, what I've learned to other people.
Absolutely.
So
That's
I feel
awesome.
the same way.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you for coming here and being part of this design initiative. So I appreciate that.
Yes, no, it was so good talking to you.
Yeah.
I don't, I talk to sound designers when we're talking about wigs, but like just sitting down chatting, this was really good.
Yeah, no. If you have any other questions about why we
I know, I'm gonna call you up like, why is that mic and that wig like that?
Yes,
no,
yes, and we will make concessions and try to make things work.
Awesome.
And try to move things around.
Thank you.
I appreciate
thank you.
It. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our website, blacktheaterunited.com. Black Theater United, creating pipelines for you, the future of our industry.